So if you have ADHD, starting a new diet or workout plan, that might be the easiest, most exciting part. It's new, it's novel, it's exciting, and after a few weeks, you feel unstoppable. Then the excitement dissipates, and suddenly you're convinced that you're the problem. That cycle is why you keep regaining over and over again. So, for most of my life, I thought that weight loss was a discipline problem for me. If I regained weight, I assumed I had become lazy or stopped wanting it bad enough. But that never truly made sense to me. I already proved to myself that I could do hard work. I'd lost more than 80 pounds 5 separate times. I've completed endurance events, done triathlons, did CrossFit, football, 20 different sports. I trained consistently when I was locked in. The problem is when that wasn't new, that goal switched, or it was a new season of my life and I was focusing on something else. The problem wasn't whether I could do difficult things. The problem was that my system only worked when I was excited about it. And ADHD made that pattern even more extreme. So, one reason I could repeatedly lose so much weight was novelty. A new plan gave me a new target, new routine, a new version of myself to chase, and that was exciting to my brain. When something was new, I became completely obsessed with it. I could train harder, I could track everything, I could organize my entire life around that goal. That intensity looked like discipline from those on the outside. Sometimes it was discipline, but it was also what got me excited at the moment because it was a new goal. The problem was that I built plans around how I behaved while highly motivated. I never built them around the version of me that was tired, overwhelmed, bored, or working long hours. If you always feel unstoppable during week one, but discovered by week six that you are disconnected from the goal, you may not need a more intense plan. You may just need a plan that's designed for what happens after the excitement and the novelty disappear. Because eventually, every routine stops feeling new. So once novelty disappears, boredom sets in. All the small decisions start feeling heavier. What am I eating today? When am I training? What am I training? What workout am I doing? In what order? Do I have time for the entire session? Did I ruin this week by missing a workout or two? None of these or those decisions seem huge by themselves, but it can be a snowball effect. Every meal or workout requires another decision. It becomes easier to avoid the entire process, especially if you start missing one and then one leads into two, two leads into three, and it can just snowball. Then I personally would interpret that in myself as avoidance or laziness, or that I didn't really want the goal. I didn't recognize that I had made the systems too complicated for me to repeat. An example of this is first time I was training for the Ironman for the month, I would start training after work, after a 12 to 15 hour a day outside. I would go to the weight room, I would bike 15 miles, then I would run 5 to 10, then I would actually weight train for an hour. That may have been sustainable for the month that I did it for training for the actual Ironman 1 month before, but it wasn't sustainable over time. Right after I finished the Ironman, I took a week off and all of that training went out the window. And honestly, my metrics for the bike and the swim and the run right after went way down. And once I missed part of the plan, the next ADHD pattern took over. One missed workout never felt like one missed workout. It felt like evidence that I had stopped being disciplined. One bad meal became a bad day, A bad day became a bad week. Then Monday became another chance to restart perfectly. That was a trap. I kept practicing how to reset, but I never practiced how to recover without starting over. The skill I was missing wasn't perfection, it was interruption. It was interruption control. The ability to stop making one mistake from becoming an entire identity or from becoming more. If you plan workouts only to execute it perfectly or to be on point the whole time, it isn't a sustainable plan. It's not going to sustain forever. It's a temporary performance that's new, it's novel, and you can have that all or nothing mindset for a little bit, but eventually motivation wears off. So I stopped asking how to become motivated every single day. Motivation wanes, but dedication, that's where you want to sit. The first thing that changed was removing unnecessary decisions. I stopped waiting until the moment of the workout to decide when and how I would train. I started making a plan. The second thing that changed was creating a minimum version of success. What's the least I can do today to stay towards my goal and get 1% better today? So, what does that look like? On a strong day, I can complete a full plan, the full metrics of my plan. On a bad day, success might mean 20 minutes of exercise, a walk, one balanced meal, or simply showing up and moving. The minimum day prevents you going back to zero and that snowballing. It protects your identity even when the performance is smaller on that day. You're still getting 1% better in some metric and still moving forward. Clarify that minimum requirement or that minimum day is not an excuse to avoid effort. It's protection against completely abandoning the system and letting it snowball into one day into two days into three days into four. And by the next thing you know it, you've let a week pass. So principle number 3 was simple. The third change was simple. One disrupted day does not require a restart. I don't need to punish myself to compensate for it or overdo it the next day or wait till Monday. I just need to complete the next available action. So principle 4 was track completion, not just perfection. The final change was tracking whether I kept my relationship with my routine or my goal. Did I do something today to get 1% closer to my goal and what I want? Not whether the day was flawless or perfect. If I'm just focusing on getting 1% closer to that goal, I did more today than I would have done if I didn't do anything. A week or a day with 4 or more imperfect wins or 1 days is more valuable than 2 perfect days followed by quitting or followed by the rest of the week not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So in essence, the system or the process became more important than the emotional state I brought into it. So if you have ADHD, you keep starting over, you want to start building a plan that lasts this time, I want you to do 3 things. First, I want you to choose a minimum action that counts towards your worst realistic day. What's the baseline thing that you can do today to move 1% towards your goal? Second, I want you to remove one decision before tomorrow. Set out your clothes. Write your workout before you go in, or prepare the meal. Third, I want you to stop treating one missed day like a broken identity or that you're broken or you failed. Complete the next action without punishment or adding more to it. You don't need a system that proves how motivated you can become. You need one that still functions when motivation is gone so that you can build the discipline and habits that keep it going. Every time I regained the weight, I treated it like proof that something was wrong with me, but I wasn't failing because I didn't care about the goal or I didn't care about the progress. I just got distracted. I was trying to force myself into systems that depend on a version of me that couldn't exist every day and that didn't work with my thinking patterns. I am still learning. I'm still trying to follow this program and I'm still trying to do this, but I still have difficult days. But now a difficult day doesn't automatically become another restart or failure. This channel is for people who are tired of starting over, not because you need another perfect plan, but because you need a system that survives imperfect days. If that sounds like the kind of fitness journey you need, make sure you subscribe. That's exactly what we're trying to build here. A community that helps each other build proper systems and stay motivated, stay dedicated, but through the systems that we build.